The Detroit Lions dominated the Baltimore Ravens on the road, 38-30. Yesterday on Monday Night Football, have the Lions proven that they are still a Super Bowl contender without their all-star coordinators? And who was to blame for this loss, Harbaugh or Henry?
I want to go.
Why Super Bowl?
Yeah,
I want to go.
Nick, that's a hell of a.
What you mean?
I know Nick put that.
They've been a contender.
They were a number 1 seed last year. What you mean?
I know Nick.
All right. Framing, but that's a good job. Anyway.
Mad dramatic.
A Bengals fan framing.
This ain't got nothing to do with Cincinnati, Lou. Don't bring up.
Yeah, we don't need to bring up Cincinnati until there's a reason to bring up Cincinnati.
And hopefully we get to talk about another NFC North team that happened this weekend. But at the end of the day, what I'm seeing with the Lions and everything that we talked about with Dan Campbell seems to be on track to be proving us either wrong or proving some of us on this panel who believe in Dan Campbell right. The ship has been steadied over the past 2 weeks. The first week, divisional game, I kind of always chalk divisional games up to being those are really weird. No matter who you playing in your division, like when the Eagles play the Commanders, it's always going to be a shootout. When the Bills played the Dolphins, as you see, it doesn't matter if Josh Allen is so much better than Tua. It's the fact that I play you twice a year, and I know you, and we study you, and we look forward to those games. So when you have an out of conference game like this, is potential quote unquote Super Bowl potential matchup lived up to the billing on the Lions side. But for me, this weighs more for me that Baltimore looks a little fraudulent. And I think that's because John Harbaugh. And I've been saying that we do this every year with Baltimore. And this is why I keep saying that to our conversation earlier without having to go back into he who will not be named on the Eagles. They need to get Lamar Jackson more help in the skills positions. I've been saying this. I swear everyone's going to tell me that it's defense and whatnot, but to me it's O-line and it is his skills positions. I don't think anybody puts any fear in the heart of a defense when you got Zay Flowers and a bunch of nobodies and the corpse of DeAndre Hopkins, who you're hoping to turn back the clock every week. I just don't think that's sustainable. Derrick Henry's been taking hits his whole career, so now he's just getting stripped by little 5'10" safeties and shit. It's not a good look to fall back on Henry and Hopkins and hope that Lamar can be Superman every week. I know that the defense is one of the more higher paid defenses. I understand that Marlon Humphrey's cooked. I understand Marlon Humphrey's cooked. I understand that Marlon Humphrey's cooked, and I understand that the Lions ran roughshod over them. But I think that once again, this comes down to the fact that they refuse to invest in the trenches for Lamar. He should have a Lions type of line. He should have an Eagles type of line where he gets all the time in the world. And you got to get him a guy that puts the fear in the heart of the defense. Because come playoff time, when those guys are not getting separation and those guys are not getting as much separation as they can, it's as glaring as possible. So you have to just be able to be like, yo, Jamar Chase, go get me one. A.J. Brown, yo, we're going to run a fade route. Justin Jefferson, I need you to just give me one or two crazy breakout plays. Who you telling on the Ravens to make a play for you when the chips are really down? Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, that's cool, but they ain't Travis Kelce, and they're not Tony Gonzalez. So you have to have a world beater on your offense. You have to when you're this close. That's the cherry on top. That's the icing on this cake for me.
Q, I don't disagree. But I will say this, right? What I said earlier was the Ravens win because of Lamar. Like Lamar has like a 70-some% win percentage, and it is because Lamar. And when you're going to be one of the best, right, 2-time MVP, you have to win because of you, regardless of whatever is going around. Now, I will agree that for forever, he hasn't had a number one receiver, right? And you're talking about striking fear. Lamar is the person that strikes the fear. You know what I'm saying? And it should be your quarterback that strikes the most fear. When you look at Josh Allen, like you think they worried about Keon Coleman? They worried about Josh Allen. You think they worried back when they had Tyreek, of course. Travis Kelce's an issue. But people are worried about Mahomes, right? So at the end of the day, I think they have more than enough to win. That defense is definitely getting exposed. They spend a lot of money on that side. They've invested a lot of money or a lot of draft capital on that side, and it's not panning out. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. In terms of the offensive side, in my opinion, the reason why they have lost is Derrick Henry. The man has fumbled 2 times in 3 games, and we're talking about situations where they're on the way to either taking the lead or holding on to the lead. And you can't be the reason why 2 years ago that they were now going to be a legit Super Bowl contender, and every time that they're giving you the ball to do your job, you fumble in the rock. These 2 games, in my opinion, that is because of Derrick Henry has to do his job. And doing your job means not fumbling the ball. Now, defensively, here's the thing. Last season, I don't know what's up because it's not like they're devoid of talent on that side of the ball. I agree, Q. And I was saying it last year. Marlon Humphreys is definitely cooked. But they drafted, I can't remember buddy name, but they drafted Nate Wiggins. They drafted Wiggins last year. They drafted a safety this year. Malachi Starks. So yeah, maybe they have one good corner, and then they traded for the Packers.
Jair. He was out.
He was out. They understand, they know, and this is again good front office. They know where they're weak and they're trying to address it. It just needs to get better because last season, part of the season, they was trash. The other part of the season, they were really good. And right now they're super trash. And they're hurting the team. And the reason why I'm saying it's the defense, when you look at the numbers, the Ravens score so fast. They score fast. They're one of the leading teams in scoring, but one of the teams with the least amount of time of possession. So you're putting the worst part of your team back on the field ASAP, which is why they've been in shootouts. You look at all of these games, bro, they're shootouts. Lamar has enough to win. I don't want to hear about the offense and this, that about Lamar. That defense need to step the hell up because you got names on that defense, bro.
I'm glad you said that, and I wanted to be able to go off of the point that you said as far as them being able to score the ball and their defense having to go back onto the field. This is a coaching problem. This is not a Lamar Jackson problem. It ain't even necessarily a defensive problem. It's a coaching from John Harbaugh's. Like, you need to learn how to be able to win with a football team like you have. Baltimore has been dependent upon defense for a long time, going back even to the Ray Lewis era. But now we have a quarterback who is one of the most talented ever at the position, and he can go out there and he can score in 3 to 4 minutes. But since he can do that, we have a defense that can't hold nobody up, and now they own the field for 14, 15, 16 plays. That's on John Harbaugh. You need to fix that. That's a scheme thing. I can't ask Lamar Allen to do much more than he does. He damn near perfect from the sense of what he does from the pocket, running the ball, making decisions. He's doing his job. But people are looking at it from a point of, oh, he can't win football games. He can't close out. It's not that. It's like I'm going out there, I'm doing my job on a week-to-week basis. I don't have the support system around me to be able to help me to say, like, all right, I scored in 4 plays. I need the defense to go out here and do their thing. And they can't. Yes, there's injuries. Yes, there's a lot of different things that go into that. But still, I'm putting my finger at Harbaugh in the sense of you need to learn how to fix this. You had this talent, this all-world talent at quarterback for however many years, and you ain't learned how to win with him yet. That ain't on him. That's on you, John Harbaugh.
Well, Lou, I don't know who Lamar Allen is, but you can't really ask him to do nothing.
You beat me to it, Sean. I was going to say, hey, maybe if Lamar Allen was starting, they would have won the game.
Lamar Allen was going to do off him. Little transfusions.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, Derrick Henry, I do say that Detroit is always going to be in the mix. I just don't believe in them in the Super Bowl team for one reason only. I don't believe in Jared Goff. I say that all the time. I think when it matters most, Jared Goff folds under pressure, and he is the weak link on that team. Everything else is pretty solid on the defensive side of the ball if they can stay healthy. We know what the skill players can do on offense, but I just don't believe in him when it matters most. Now, on to the other side of the ball, Lamar Jackson took 7 sacks. That was pretty rough. And a lot of those sacks, man, I would say they were more coverage sacks because he held the ball for a while. And I would like to see him in a game like that. I'd like to see him. It was early, so I he gets a pass for that. But I'd like to see him take off a little bit more because he's hard to stop when his legs are churning. When he's running, it's hard to stop him. He's already making the plays with his arm. We needed to see more from his legs. He ran the ball, I think, 7 times for 35 yards, which is not enough for a Lamar Jackson type player. Lamar Jackson is a threat both ways, and he didn't get off in the rushing side of it. But Derrick Henry, absolutely, this is on him. He's fumbled 3 times in 3 games, FIFO. And if you look at this game before the fumble, I think the series before, they had the ball on the goal line, and you got Derrick Henry. That should be a no-brainer. They ran him, I think, 2 of those 3 times, 2 of those 3 times, and he couldn't get the ball in the end zone. That's a problem. Derrick Henry should have scored. And anybody else, we can kind of have an argument about it, but Derrick Henry, there's no way you should be tackled at the 1-yard line ever if you're Derrick Henry. So I look at him like he's the main cause. Lamar did everything he could to keep them in this game. As a matter of fact, they took control of the game in the second half because they came out with possession, and all they had to do was keep the momentum going. But he let them down. So I put this on Derrick Henry, not Lamar Jackson.
Nick, I know you about to say what I'm about to think. So go ahead.
Well, my thing was first and foremost, I know we always like to talk about the losers a lot, but shout out to the Detroit Lions for scoring 90 points in 2 games after they shit the bed in their opener. But for me, this game is, y'all mentioned a lot of it. It's the defensive game. Honestly, it reminds me of last season with the Bengals, where it's just like the offense can score all these points, but if the defense shits the bed, then it don't really matter. And then we come back the next day and yell at the quarterback when it's really we need to be yelling at the defense. Like someone mentioned, they invested a lot of money in the defense. I think Kyle Hamilton got paid. They paid Jair Alexander. They paid, I think, a couple other people, or people that are still getting paid. And it's just kind of like, where am I seeing it? Now, granted, a couple seasons ago, they had the number 1 defense, so it's not like it's not like they're too far off from those things. It's just, I don't know if it's a scheme thing or age thing, because football, you age faster than any other sport. But to me, it's like this team is not going anywhere. I don't even think this team is getting out the first round with the way the defense is playing. And I know that we said that last year they started off 1-2 as well, I think, and then they took off. But so I'm not counting the Ravens out, but I'm just saying, like, from what I'm seeing is like Lamar can't get any better. Derrick Henry's only fumbled twice before this season in like his 9-year career. Like from like 2016 to 2024, he's only fumbled twice. So I'm not gonna really blame Derrick Henry for 2. These are 2 key fumbles, so you can say they cost the game, but at the same time, if my team throws up all these points and all this stuff, the defense, like the Ravens, is known for defense, running the ball and defense, and right now they're not holding up one or the other. So, I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking in Baltimore yet. However, I do not trust his defense, and I've been saying that since last season.
But for the Lions, though, you give them credit for scoring 90 points, and they had like close to almost 1,000 yards in the last 2 games. So what have we known the Lions to be over the last 2 to 3 seasons? Right, they're a tough, hard-nosed team. Obviously, Dan Campbell, his DNA is all over that squad pause. But at the end of the day, we know them as an offensive squad. Like a creative offensive squad that has multiple weapons that can hit you on multiple levels. Like they have the short run game with Montgomery. They have the big home run hitter with Gibbs. They have the intermediate Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have Jameson Williams. You know what I'm saying? So and they got Laporta. So they can hit you. To me, the Lions, I'm not worried about them no more. I was worried about them because they did lose arguably 2 of the best coordinators on their prospective side of the ball, and it did look bad. And I was worried about that in preseason. I'm not worried about that no more because it looks fun again. It looks like the creativity is there. They're moving guys around. They're throwing the what was that pitch that like they're going out there doing stuff that was a crazy crazy play design. Yeah, crazy play design. So they're getting back to really what they are. So are they a Super Bowl contender? Yes, because they were last year. And they were on the precipice the year before that. So yes, they are definitely a Super Bowl contender. I'm not worried about them anymore.
And my thing right before you go, Q, is like, for me, the difference between also this game is, and again, this is a hardball season for me, just like it's a Zach Taylor season, just like it's a Mike McDaniel season. Like there's a lot of coaches where it's like, bro, if you don't make the playoffs or do something, like, bro, we gonna look at you totally different. Or if you don't succeed past that, we're gonna look at you totally different. Because once again, John Harbaugh didn't go for it on fourth down. You know what I'm saying? And then we see, like you mentioned, what's his name, the coach for the Lions, Campbell. 4th and 2 to seal the game, bro. They throwing it up and saying, "Fuck it, nigga, this week 3." Like, you know what I'm saying?
The thing is, though, that right there for me is. That's what you love about Dan Campbell, but that's the shit that makes me scared in the playoffs.
That's gonna lose you.
It's like that's gonna lose his ass a game, and it's just like, all right. But the thing is, though, that's just that's the thing about sports.
Colin Cowherd brought up an interesting point about what you just said, Q. It's like when he first got there, yes, because the Lions weren't as a talented team, but now that they've built out their roster, them taking those gambles on fourth down, believing that I have a better team than you do, and I'm going to go for it on 4th and 2. I'm going to go for it on 4th and 1 because I just feel like my people can beat your people. I think that's a really good point to bring up. Like the Lions, when we first were knocking Dan Campbell for going for these fourth downs, because I know I was a main very critical of him, but now him seeing the team that he has, the running backs he has, and being like, yeah, I'm going for it on fourth down because I'm better than you.
I like the rep.
It's like also what Colin said, I agree with, is without the tush push, they're going for it on 4th without a guarantee.
Yeah, we're not gonna have a tush push conversation, but he was just saying they do it without they go for it on 4th. I get it, but no need for that shot against them. But nevertheless, I will say, Nick, just to add on to what they were saying about going for the 4th down, imagine them if they did it. Because I saw you say that in the chat.
I was saying that because it was like, bro, if you have an issue, like you should do what did they always say, FIFO? You should always do the thing that the other side doesn't want you to do when it comes to certain situations. Like for me in that Eagles game, bro, McVay was in the red zone, bro. Fuck it, bro. Like, why are we selling for field goals? Wasn't gonna win that game when y'all was scoring touchdowns. Y'all came out of the third quarter or to start the second half throwing touchdowns after like a key turnover. It's like, bro, put their foot on their neck, and it's just like when you start believing in the lead more than believing in your scheme or believing in your team, that's when shit goes. That's why I'm seeing it with John Harbaugh. He did it the last couple games.
Yeah. A couple of, like the first game he lost. Imagine if he would have went for it. So, the league is changing. It was the article that I read, that there are more teams going for it on 4th down now, and that's why punting is down. It was in the Wall Street Journal. But FIFO, I'm as we get ready to move to our weekly picks and worst of the week, we got that coming up. I don't know if I'm there yet on the Lions. I still need to see just a little bit more. I will agree. I do agree that they did look like a version of themselves in the last game. It's great that you put 50-something up on the Bears, but, it's the Bears. And I'm kind of with Q on the division game. It looked ugly, but it's a division game, so you kind of take that with a grain of salt sometimes. But nevertheless, the question that I have for myself, if this continues, I guess the question I had is this a quality win? That's what I was asking myself after it was over, because they lost to the Green Bay Packers, who just lost to the Browns, and then they beat the Bears. But the Bears were 0-2, and then they beat the Ravens, but we don't know if the Ravens are good yet. So, but at the same time, you got Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, both are 1-2. Imagine that. So, What a damn start to the
And
season.
one of them gonna be 1 and
And
3.
one of them, yeah, I was gonna say one is gonna be 1 and 3.
More than likely not making the playoffs.
So anyway, nevertheless, we'll see how things play out. It's still, as Kyle, shout out to 12 Kyle, like to say, we're in the preseason part for a lot of teams. So
It's crazy. We about to be in week 4, bro. Lou, we was waiting on football season all this time. We about
that's
to be
what y'all
in week
asking.